Hello. Welcome to the Turret of Pleasure up here in the Enchanted Kingdom of Hermione. I am the Lord Chamberlain of the Enchanted Kingdom, Zip Gun. We're talking music, as always, because talking anything else will only drive us all crazy. And I've had the good fortune of receiving some special gifts from the third musketeer of our production troika, Microphonic Fool, and myself, and the mysterious Ramace, sometimes known as Ramage Inc, into the music world. And when I recently received the Godly and Cream box set for Christmas, to my great joy, I asked him if he wanted all the vinyl, because he didn't know a lot about them. The vinyl had all been in a flood and was kind of not in the greatest shape, cover-wise anyway. Records were fine. So collectible, they're not really, other than maybe Consequences. So I said, you want it? He goes, yeah, great. He says, tell you what, I'll trade you for some stuff I got, but I'm not keen on. So he traded me two things that I would have never bought in a million years at regular price. I probably would have jumped on them had I found them in the thrift store for any kind of reasonable money. But better than even that, they were basically free. And they were great because they forced me to come to terms with stuff that I hadn't really thought about in a long time. And that a lot of other people seem to think are very, very good. So I got two. He gave me two things. I'm going to go over them both. The first one, and this was really an eye-opener. He's a big fan of Mark Bolan and T-Rex. I'm a fan, for sure. When I was much younger, I bought T-Rex, Electric Warrior, and The Slider, all of which I thought were pretty darn good records. And they're really, they are what they are. Basically those are his classic albums. I think most of us will agree. And if you kind of analyze those even slightly, you'll realize that T-Rex had a sound that was pretty much his own, Bolan's own. Lyrics, sometimes it didn't make any sense. Like, girl, I'm just a Jeepster for your love. Okay. But big production pop music with a sort of hard rock pretensions, but really pop music. And after Slider, which was probably his high point, he started to fall afoul of the stuff that most rock stars fall afoul of, lifestyle. And he kind of lost the plot a little bit. He did a record called Tanks, which was okay. I never owned it. Never really liked it that much. Tenement Lady, I remember being okay. But I didn't buy it. And then after that, I kind of lost interest. I got into more prog rock stuff. He descended into things like Zip Gun and, what was that record? And to be perfectly honest, I completely forgot about the guy, and then one day he was dead. This is his last album. And it came out maybe 6 months before he died. And I didn't even, when I was given this, I was like, what's this? That's how little I know about later T-Rex. Well, what this is his last album, in a definitive edition, that I must say, including way more studio stuff than you'll ever want, every kind of weird outtake, acoustic mix, it's, as Gertrude Stein would say, much of a muchness. However, I decided, okay, I'm going to give this a fair chance, and I played the album proper, Dandy in the Underworld. And you know what? It's really good. Again, going into this, I knew what I was getting with T-Rex. I wasn't going to get anything deep or meaningful or complex. It's going to be just raw pop power. And here it is. Now, to be sure, I should say, Jason B. Sad on this sounds exactly like Telegram Sam, slowed down a bit and in a different key. And almost every one of these songs you can reference it to a previous song. that's maybe a better song in his past. But, and, you know, I mean, some of these, there's a great song, The Soul of My Suit. Huh? Like, the lyrics are great. The lyrics, if anything, are even sillier than they used to be. Teen Riot Structure. It's like, what? So he also does a weird cover, this is in the extra stuff, To Know You Is to Love You, which, for no good reason. Don't ask me why he did it. City Port has a line in it about midgets. Confused me a bit. And then there's Tame My Tiger, which we get Tame My Tiger, the outtake, Tame My Tiger sung by his wife, Gloria. Tame My Tiger, there's about 5 versions of Tame My Tiger, all of which consist of people going, Tame My Tiger, baby, Tame My Tiger. I listened to almost this whole thing. I really wanted to stick it through. I got bogged down in the Punkoid Outtakes bracket Crimson Moon, which is basically him teaching the band Crimson Moon. Ditto for Groove a Little, Trident Rough studio rehearsal. Now, these are not as terrible as you might think, because for some of this album he hired Herbie Flowers to play bass, and Herbie's on these two. You can tell it's Herbie, there's no question. And Herbie adds a dimension to this record that's really cool, because he's quite an alert and nimble bass player, as opposed to Steve. Good old Steve Curry's still on this. He does his thing quite admirably. And there's a keyboard player on this who's named Dino, I can't remember his name, who's all over this, and he plays some of the greatest, unbelievable, cheesy synths. Boy, but perfect. This is 1977, I think it was. So, do I, 3 CD book set? Now, here's the thing about this. This is on Edsel. Edsel does sterling work. They really do. This was probably a lot like $45. Nobody likes these things. Me, I don't like it. I mean, this one's not bad. There's a hole in it, but there's 3 discs. Okay, well, where's the hole in this one? Well, there isn't one. The binding is kind of crap. They do actually, the good news is, they don't bullshit you. They call it a 3 CD book set, which is what it is. The book is very informative. It's pretty much exhaustive. Dino Dines, or Dines. There he is. He doesn't look like he's in T-Rex. He looks like he's in Supertramp. Yeah, so I was delighted to get this for free and very pleasantly surprised. And by God, I'm going to go and listen to all those other records that I completely ignored. And I'll bet this is better than them, because by all accounts, this was something of a return to form for Mark. And, people sort of act like he was this doomed Syd Barrett failure. Well, he wasn't. He was actually a fairly cagey veteran of the music scene by this point. And he died in a car accident. I mean, lifestyle didn't kill him. Car accident killed him. So there's no reason to believe that he wouldn't have had some kind of comeback, sort of like David Bowie, perhaps. Who knows? So it's one of those great what-ifs. The other thing he gave me, and this was equally interesting, was this. Now, in theory, I'm going to love this for a couple of reasons. First of all, I don't think I have bugger all Rory Gallagher, who I have a deep respect for. The guy was 100% genuine, for sure. And he was originally in a band called Taste back in the 60s, who were a blues rock band, kind of Irish, though. It's from Ireland. Taste broke up. He continued as a solo artist, recording for Polydor back in those days when Polydor started up their U.S. operation, and by God, they had some good guitar players. They had Roy Buchanan, they had Ellen McElwain, and they had Rory Gallagher. And of course, they couldn't give these records away. Like, they had a small, devoted following, and Gallagher was basically, blues. He was a blues guy. And maybe the reason I'm not a huge fan is because maybe he didn't have much scope. He had a band of Irish mates that he kept forever and ever on end. He made a great Irish tour live record that's probably all you need. This is for fans. However, it's great for somebody like me in one respect, in that almost none of this has been previously released. Now there's 3 CDs on this, and it's sort of loosely based as electric blues on CD 1, acoustic and mostly solo blues on CD 2, which is actually great. And then the third one is live, which goes from strength to strength. There is a version of Born Under a Bad Sign with Jack Bruce you gotta hear once. It's unbelievably horrible. Poor old Rory is just, you can just see him cringing. Now, there's a couple of interesting things about this. First of all, it's on Chess Records. Now, I know Rory Gallagher was Irish. He did not live in Chicago. But you'll notice I'm hiding it because it's the big UMC monolith at the bottom there. This is another one of those records, and I think the Roger Daltrey Wilco Johnson record was on Chess. They kind of regurgitated Chess as this blues label, and which is cool. I mean, Rory would have been very happy to be on Chess. The fact that Chess is now just a trademark owned by UMC, along with Polydor, who Rory did many records for, or Chrysalis, who Rory did many records for, or fucking just about everybody. So UMC owns the entire universe, so they've got access to his whole catalog, and this is, for the most part, outtakes from his albums. I don't think there's anything from the regular issue albums, and part of the reason I'm unsure about this, you would expect of me to be more, secure in this knowledge, having watched my channel, is because the information in this is really crap. There are musician credits. Okay, that's good. Because you're not going to credit Jack Bruce? Come on. But there are no recording dates, or there's no context. So 90% of these songs read like this. Off the Handle, written by Rory Gallagher. Rory Gallagher, guitar, vocals, harmonica. Jerry McAvoy, bass. Brendan O'Neill, drums. P Circle 2019 BBC, under license to Universal Music Operations. Or it'll be 2019 UMC, a division of Universal Music Operations. Almost all of these, about 3 songs on here that were previously released, usually on comps. One is the Peter Green song. He does I think it was on a Peter Green tribute. One is on a Lonnie Donegan record from '78 that came out on UA. Sharon Donegan apparently owns the copyright to that. And then there's the 1971 Chess records. This actually was on Chess, where he was on, I think it was the Muddy Waters London sessions, maybe. And the rest is 2019 UMC. No recording dates, no indication as to, for instance, what album's outtakes each song might be from. The live CD has no, doesn't tell you where it was recorded, which I think, given that this is a 3 CD compilation, you could call it a box, even though it's got a sleeve. But this is for fans. This is for people that are, bean counters and nitpickers. I think this is just a corporate travesty because the information isn't there. Now, if you read the book and parse through it, you can kind of figure it out. But I'll tell you what, life's too short. And they should have provided that information. So, I think it's $40 to buy this. I'm glad to own it. I played the whole live CD. Born Under a Bad Sign it's so bad that it's great. Most of this, the acoustic CD is really good. The man was he was the real deal. And, Irish blues rocker. He died rather young. I think he drank a lot of Guinness and kind of led to some health issues that took him, which is really too bad because he probably could have played effectively into his 70s. Anyways, but two things I got that I really like. If you like Rory Gallagher, if you are a fan and you don't have this, you need it. It's that good. If you are a fan of T-Rex, you don't need this. You just need the album, which I'm sure is available singly and at way less cost. If you are out of your mind insanely into T-Rex, buy it. It goes into as much detail as any lunatic could want. To go any further, that would be to enter the realm of things like the Pet Sounds box, which you don't need. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff, because apparently it's good. We'll talk at you later when we got more stuff to talk about. And we'll continue with our series of moments and maybe start on the deep dives. There's going to be some deep dives this year. Anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.